Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing well. In this week of update, obviously I'll be going over my previous week of training. So this past week was the first week after my meet, and it started out with a workout right after my meet that I had on Sunday with the Monday workout. I was extremely sore, nothing particularly hurt, and I think that's a big difference that people need to be able to grasp when they're learning when to train and when to take time off, is the difference between soreness and pain. Now, it isn't always best to train when you're sore because you don't perform as well. You're not able to exert as much force in whatever lift or exercise or movement that you're doing, but generally, at least from my experience, you don't get hurt when you're sore, unless, I guess, if you were really stupid and went crazy that day. But generally, you just can't lift as much. You're just sore. You're not, you're just not like a sprained ankle if your quads are sore with that. So when I went to work out, my forearms, chest, upper back, lower back, my quads a little bit were sore. My hamstrings weren't sore at all. Calves, any of that weren't sore at all. But I was sore darn near everywhere the next day. But I decided to go in because I was just really eager to get the weightlifting movement started with that. And on that day I did some clean and jerks, some snatches, and that was a pretty common theme throughout the week where I worked to a high intensity but with very little total volume. So that day I worked up, it was like a 235 pound clean and jerk, which at the time was PR. Later in the week did 245, which is my current best with that movement. Then the snatch I went to 145, which as low as I caught it is the best I've done with the snatch. Still have a lot of room to improve in that area with it. And then push press, I think I PR'd with 5 pounds on that, and generally it was just trying, my goal as I went through the week was not to kill myself with the high intensity, but was to kind of get a gauge of where I am with these various weightlifting movements and to really jump back into it aggressively because I was just really eager to get it started. And I caveated the intensity that I was doing by not doing a lot of volume, not trying to do a lot of sets and reps and all of that stuff, but just trying to get a benchmark of, alright, I can do a snatch grip push press behind the neck with this much weight. I can push press about this much weight, and kind of get a gauge of where my strength is and my technical prowess, because with a thing like clean and jerk, while my strength is lacking in my quadriceps and being explosive within the movement, I still have a lot of room of improvement to make with the mechanics of it all. And the mechanical improvements that I will hopefully be able to make through practice will add pounds and pounds of weight onto the bar without getting any strength. And doing that will get me stronger, and obviously getting stronger will get me stronger. So there is a lot of room to improve with that. But thankfully this week went well. I actually feel really good now. My IT band actually is feeling really good, which I think is a very good thing, because despite working out a high intensity a couple times during this week, I didn't aggravate it anymore, which to me tells me that it's not some sort of injury, to use the ankle example again, like a sprained ankle where you have to take time off and doing anything is bad for it. For me, I think it's more of the higher volume work, lots and lots of reps and all of that stuff is what is going to aggravate it and cause it to flare back up with it. Hopefully, as I take some time off, I didn't lift yesterday on Saturday, nor am I going to lift today on Sunday. 2 full days off of lifting and then going back on Monday will be enough to kind of get it, will be enough of a catalyst to get it to be feeling good as I move forward in the next week. If my leg feels good, I may jump into the weightlifting program, and as the week goes on I'll talk more about that, but I haven't decided fully if I want to do that, and it really just depends on how my leg feels. If for whatever reason my IT band continues to be kind of achy and I don't want to push it in the next week, I will focus on upper body pressing, so some push presses, overhead pressing, benching, rowing, deadlifts, stuff that isn't going to really aggravate it and that will allow me to train normally with that. So that will change the structure of my week if I decide to go that route. If I decide to go the route of the program, I'll just kind of go with what that is. But talking more about that, whether I start it next week or at a later time, with the program that I will be doing is a weightlifting base. So it will cover my bases in a lot of the shoulder movements, overhead pressing movements, quadricep movements, obviously the weightlifting movements. What it will be lacking is obviously benching, rows, and deadlift work, and so that will be a lot of the stuff that I want to be supplementing into the program. With the bench stuff will be a lot of close grip benching because of weightlifting movements, but a lot on the shoulders, I don't do a lot of direct tricep work, and close grip benching is going to be very specific to me for improving the bench and working on my triceps and the weakness that they have tended to be, because my shoulders have actually improved quite a bit, at least bench pressing wise. Not overall strength wise, unfortunately, but I think that will be something that will slowly improve as I do the movements lots more with that. Deadlift work, it will be, well, barbell rows, I'll talk about that. I want to continue to work with heavy barbell rows and to continue to push that exercise without using straps as much as I can to work on my grip, but also just in total weight that I do to just get used to using heavy weights and use that as an accessory for my upper back in general, but also mostly for deadlifts. And well, you just can never have strong enough back, so it'll be a beneficial thing for me to do in general, and it's something that I don't generally get that sore from, other than the last time I did it, my traps or whatever. I'm so bad at the physiology sometimes, but my upper back got a little bit sore, but it recovers relatively quickly and doesn't really affect my other lifts, which is very good. And it's a very good supplemental movement to bench pressing, doing the opposite movement with that. So a lot of heavy rows, a lot of close grip benching, overhead pressing, all that stuff obviously. But with deadlifts, what I'm tentatively thinking, and I have to figure out how I want to structure this into the program, but what I want to do is kind of a 3-week cycle, and the order of these 3 exercises may change, but I want to have 1 week of block pulls, 1 week of deficits, and then 1 week of regular deadlifts. Now tentatively that would be the order of going from block pulls to deficits to regular deadlifts off the floor. And the reason for that progression, so I'd have 1 week where I do block pulls twice, 1 week where I do deficits twice, 1 week where I do regular deadlifts twice, is to work on working with heavy weights from the block pulls, work with sub-maximal weights with speed off the floor with the deficits, and then having 1 week of the regular movements of deadlifts with that. The reason for that is I think it will allow me to work every area with the varying weights, because I think one of the issues that I went in before is that I worked a lot with my speed off the floor, but I wasn't able to work on just using heavy weights because of the sub-maximal nature of the deficit deadlift. And so while varying the lifts will allow me to challenge myself with the various movements, it will also allow me to use heavier weights in some weeks, but not use heavy weights every single week, while still working on the weakness of me pulling weights off the floor and getting my quads into the movement as much as I can with the deadlift with that. So I think it'll be something that will be beneficial, and it will allow me to vary the intensity and the volume of the deadlift, so it's not going to affect my other lifts, and it'll allow me to train the lift more frequently. Tentatively as well, it'd be 2 days a week with that, because I don't think that will be enough to adversely affect anything that I'm doing, because ideally the program is set up to be 6 days a week. Ideally I would train 6 days a week, or perhaps train 5 days a week, where I combine one of the days into one super long session if I have the time on one of the days of the week. And generally I do, since I'm on summer break, so I have the ability a couple days a week to train for hours on end, and I really have the ability to physically to do that and not have to worry about getting too tired or anything. I actually enjoy really long workouts sometimes, so it'll be something I mix in with that. But as well as the program, it's not a set in stone thing. It's kind of a general skeleton to how I will adjust it to the needs that I have, because there are different areas that I need to improve on more than others. With I'm doing a lot of the there are like clean pulls and snatch pulls, stuff like that I'm not as concerned about doing, because my pulling ability is good since I can deadlift quite a bit, and I don't get a ton of benefit out of doing those, because any weight that I use with a pull is so sub-maximal to what I can pull as far as deadlifts and stuff. It kind of messes me up, and it's almost better just to do the full movement in its entirety. But for something like snatches, I need to get a lot better at just straight holding weight above my head, because I'm not very strong at that, partially because my shoulders are weak, but I just don't have the experience with just holding a lot of weight over my head. When I did the 185 push press from behind the neck with the snatch grip, it was very difficult just to hold it there, and it would have been extremely difficult to try to do overhead squat with that. And that leads me into another thing that I want to try to do, is a lot of overhead squats, and just get used to just having a lot of weight. So a lot of snatch balances, overhead squats, push presses behind the neck, just a lot of things to get my shoulders stronger, which is going to carry over to bench pressing and all of that fun stuff. It's going to just be a beneficial thing for me to do to have stronger shoulders, and it's going to be a specific way to train for the weightlifting movement. So hopefully doing a lot of that stuff and kind of adapting the program to what I need to work on the most will allow me to get the most benefit out of the program. And with the various movements that the program has, it will challenge me in different ways. And I'm just really looking forward to it, and I don't want to jump into it too quick because I want to be able to squat how the program has properly and not have to worry about my hip and stuff being kind of aggravating. But thankfully, I mean, it's feeling really good now. Like, the pain is like a 3, which is very good when I'm just doing a regular squat. Bodyweight squats, it's like no pain at all, pretty much. And when I was doing, like, I did a 135-pound squat the other day, which is extremely light for me, but it was very minimal pain with what I was doing, which is very good because it didn't really matter how much weight I was using. The pain was always kind of present once I dropped below parallel with squats. So hopefully that trend continues. If not, then I'll just delay the program a little bit until I can get my hip right and do everything besides that to get some training in and just really continue with that. But with that all being said, I want to talk about another idea I've been having for future videos that I have during the week. And I may have mentioned this in a past video, but it's something I want to try to do consistently more. On my other channel, I talked about politics quite a bit. Politics and philosophy and religion, all that sort of stuff. What I want to try to start doing, since the frequency of my videos has increased since I make a video after each one of my workouts, is to have that normal 3 to 5 minute video of me talking about my workout. I do enjoy making those, and I think it's something that's hopefully interesting for some of you to watch, but it's also something that is a good reference for me to have to look at in the past if I wanted to. But what I want to add after that 3 to 5 minute video is some sort of talk about some sort of current news thing or politics or religion or whatever may interest me that day, and kind of continually do that because it's something I got away from, and I think it's something that, well, I know it's something I still enjoy doing because I still ingest a lot of that sort of content online and follow a lot of that stuff. So I think it'll be something that at least it would interest me a little bit. Hopefully it will interest some of you a little bit, and if it does or doesn't, you can let me know in the comments down below if you think it's a good idea or a bad idea. But I think it's something that would be interesting to add to the channel, and something that would just make my channel a little bit more unique, because I see most fitness YouTubers shy away from anything controversial, and while I don't think politics and that sort of talk is inherently controversial, nor do I want to be someone that's like talking about Hitler in some sort of sarcastic way that would be intentionally controversial for no reason at all, I don't want to shy away from topics that I think are important, like politics and stuff. So I think it's something that will be in addition to the channel that will be beneficial to have on a consistent basis. I know I've done it a couple times, but it's something I want to try to structure, at least I would probably say tentatively with every other video, if not every video, if I have something to talk about. I just don't always have stuff to talk about because I keep myself relatively busy with my various hobbies and whatnot that I do, so I don't always have time to be thinking in depth about politics all of the time, but I do tend to think about it quite a bit. So let me know what you think about my various plans for my future workouts, as well as my idea for the addition of political talk and philosophical talk into various videos in the comment section down below. And I hope you all had a great week of training, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace.